Okay, so today is part 2 of our final exam review. On Friday, we covered 25 questions that are very similar to what you would see on your final exam. Today, we're going to cover the last 9 questions. All right, and after we get through these questions, that forms a very close picture of what you're going to see on your final exam. These 2 videos will be extremely helpful for you as you prepare, okay? All right, so the first 2 questions are solving equations. All right, when I'm solving an equation, I need to solve for the variables. So go ahead and solve these 2 problems. They're very similar to what you would see on your final exam. Miles, what did you do first on number 1?
Divided 432 divided by 2.
Yes, very good. Divide by 2. And then Jason, what did you do next?
I did I wrote that over that. So.
Yeah, what is that over that? Anybody remember the terms? No. Come on, guys. Cube root. Cube root. It's cube, so you have to take the cube root. Remember that little 3 is what shows the cube root. So just, I knew you knew, but no, then the cube root is 6. All right, anybody get 6? Raise your hand if you got 6.
Wait, is this supposed to be like positive?
No, because it's to the 3rd power, and negative, negative, negative would be a negative answer. So cube root, you don't make it positive, negative. Only square root. Huh? What?
You have to show that word.
Yes. You're just showing me what you did. Now, you don't have to show the upside down division. Some of you, most of you really should have 216 memorized, the cube root. If you didn't, then you would have had to do the upside down division over off to the side. The, 216, and then you divided and you kept going. All right, but hopefully you have that one memorized. All right, number 2. Ayana, what'd you do first? Yes, very good. It's subtraction, so I do the opposite. Okay, 2x to the 3rd equals 128. Divide by 2. X to the 3rd equals 64. And Kiana, what was my answer? X equals 4. All right, anybody get both of those right? Get both right? Okay, so you have equations on your final. Okay, and now we're going to switch gears a little bit. And we're going to do, I need to pause it real quick. I want to show the answer. All right, we are going to practice writing an equation from the ordered pairs. This is the harder one of the 2. We'll talk about both scenarios that you could possibly see, but regardless of, your end result, your first step is the exact same step, regardless of which method you end up having to use. Okay, so go ahead. You need 2 pieces of information to write an equation. Can anybody tell me one of the 2? Kennedy? You need to know slope, and you need to know, Zach? Y-intercept. Okay? So which one do I always tell you find first? Slope. Okay? We can find slope using the ordered pairs. So you start there, and then we talk about the Y-intercept, which could go one of 2 ways. Kyle, do you have your slope yet? Did you get slope? Okay. Kaden, did you get the slope yet? All right. So we went -8 minus -4 over -7 minus -3. Did you guys get that? That's a lot of negatives, yes. Right? So those double negatives, what happens to them? They become positive. All right. -8 plus 4 is -4 over -4. So Isaiah, what'd you get when you reduced it? +1. Okay, so now I can start writing my equation. And I look back to the ordered pairs for my Y-intercept. No 0. So what does that mean? You got to use point slope to finish it, okay? Now, does it matter which ordered pair you pick? No, it doesn't. And I'm not going to tell you either, okay? I'm going to use the first one. But if you use the second one, you will still get the exact same answer. Okay? So either one, but I'm going to use the first one, and I will go over it in just a minute. Use point slope form now to find the Y-intercept. Okay, so just as a review, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So again, I chose the first ordered pair. So y minus y1, did you catch the double negative?
Yes.
Equals m, which I just solved for, okay, 1 times x minus x1. So what would be my next step? Just tell me.
So
Make the negatives positive.
Yeah, make those double negatives positive and then distribute. Y plus 4 equals x plus 3. All right, now what would I do? One more step. Subtract 4 from both sides. And now I have my final answer. Now you could come back over to the original if you wanted to, but as long as you have it somewhere. Basically, I was showing you over here that you couldn't finish it because the ordered pairs didn't tell you which one. So on your exam, you're going to have one where you can just look back to the ordered pair and plug in Y-intercept. You'll have another one where you have to use point slope. Okay? All right, any questions on equations? Okay, let's do the graphing. All right, I'm going to start with the easier of the two. Okay? I want you to graph this equation. All right, so we're just setting up a graph, just sketching one, just on our paper. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? I want you to graph the equation. Jason, is this equation ready to graph?
No, man.
No, it's not, because y has to be by itself. It has to be in slope-intercept form. So what would I need to do to get this in slope-intercept? Subtract 4. And so now I have y equals 2x minus 4. Now that I'm in slope-intercept, I can look for the value where my first point goes. Where does my first point go?
-4.
Down 4. Okay? That's what the last number in my equation tells me, where the first point goes on the y-axis. How do I know where my second point is going to go?
Rise over run.
Rise over run according to your slope. So 2 over 1, you rise 2, run 1, plot your point, draw your line through it. Okay, and you're done. So follow the y-intercept and the slope. Okay, so in the next problem, I have 4x plus 2y equals 12. And we know that this equation is written, I just kind of gave it away. This equation is written in what format right now? Standard form. And when an equation is written in standard form, it kind of lends itself to one method that tends to be easier. And that is finding my intercepts. Yes, my x and y intercepts. But in order to find both intercepts, what do I need to do with my equation? Write it twice. Okay? So when I see an equation in standard form, that's going to kind of tip me off or give me a clue that I can use x and y intercept here, and that would be an easier format. Remember, guys, all of these formats are interchangeable. The slope intercept, the standard form, and all that. It's basically what is going to be the easiest way to get to my answer. All right, go ahead and find both intercepts. Go ahead and find both. Okay, so if I'm solving for the x-intercept, what do I plug in for y? 0. Does everybody agree 2 times 0 cancels out? So that's why I cross it out. I don't just cross it out without a meaning, though. The fact that y was 0 is important. Now, what would I do to both sides to solve for x?
Divide 4.
Divide both sides by 4. X equals 3. Okay? But remember, I have to make an ordered pair out of this. 3, 0. 3 is x, 0 was y. Okay? I plugged in 0 for y, and then my x value is 3. I put that in an ordered pair. That's important that you understand that that is one ordered pair. All right, now on the second one, if I'm solving for y, what do I plug in for x?
0.
0. So that's why I'm crossing it out. Okay? Divide both sides by 2. Y equals 6. 0, 6. You with me? Okay, so now that I have 2 points, that's all I need for a line in order to graph it. Go ahead and graph it. Oh, and another thing, guys, Are either one of these negative?
No.
So that's why I don't have any negatives on my graph. I don't need them. Both of my points are going to be in the positive. You see that? So that could save you some time also. So where does my point go on the x-axis? 3. And where does my point go on the y-axis? 6. Okay, so I had to add one more. And then draw your line through it and your arrows, okay? So you can use your intercepts to graph as well. All right, those are similar to your graphing problems on your final exam. All right, now number 6 and 7. You have problems where you need to simplify the expression. All right, go ahead and solve both of these, please. Jamie, what did you do first on number 6? Guys, listen. Very good. So she said she took the square root of 121 and she made it 11. So it should be 311, right? No. So we need to. That's not what she said. I'm just testing you guys. Yes. This is multiplication. So 3 times 11 is what? 33, and when I add those together, I get 53. Okay. All right. On number 7, Kennedy, what did you do first?
I took cube root, so 2 times -6.
Yes. Very good. Now, did you have that memorized, or did you have to do your? Okay. So she had cube root of -216 memorized. What happens if you forgot what it is?
Upside down.
Upside down division, which that's a bummer, but you probably won't forget it next time, okay? So she did 2 times -6, and then what was your second set? Kennedy.
4 times 3.
4 times 3. Okay, very good. So, class, what's 2 times -6?
12.
What's 4 times 3?
12.
So what's my answer?
0.
0. Okay, and I just put a line through it to kind of show that it's a 0. But you don't have to. I don't know. It's just what I do. Okay? All right, so that's it for number 7. Okay, on number 8, this was hard to draw. I did my best. I already did it in 6th hour. Okay. I try. I mean, I am not artistic to say the least, okay? I tried. All right, but it's good enough. Stop laughing. I see y'all smirking over there. Okay? It's good enough that you should know what to do to solve, okay? So let's go ahead and solve this problem. You have 2 of these on your final exam. All right, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Plug in your numbers. The square root of 164 is not an even square root, so we're going to round to the nearest tenth. And 12.8 inches equals C. Don't worry about the upside down division. Next year in Algebra 1, you're going to learn how to use upside down division to find square roots when it's not a perfect square. And it involves leaving part of it under the radical, and that would be fine as well. Actually, you can press the S to D button on your calculators that you won't have next year. And it'll show you, it should show you under the radical what's left.
12.41.
No. It should show you.
2 10 and 41 power.
Yeah.
No, not 41.
2 to the square root of 41. That's what would be your answer next year. Okay? And there's a way that you can figure that out. All right? But for now, it's okay just to use that square root button on your calculator. All right. Last problem, and this could help you on your final exam, would be the distance formula. 410 and -6. 4. I want you to find the distance between the 2 points. I did not say to find slope. The distance formula is significantly longer. Okay? So find the distance between the 2 points. It's similar to slope, but it is not slope. D equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And my stylus was messed up, so that's super sloppy, so I'll clean that up a little bit. X2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. It's kind of catchy, so that makes it a little easier to memorize. But now all I have to do is plug in the numbers into the formula to find my distance between the 2 points. If I remember correctly, this might not be an even square root either. So next year you would leave part of it under the radical. For this year, you can use the square root to find the decimal value. Either way would be acceptable. Okay, we've got to watch for our signs. The signs are important. -6 minus 4 squared plus 4 minus 10 squared. Now, technically, when you're squaring a negative, it ends up being positive. So we have to be careful about that because they're in parentheses. All right, so -10 squared plus -6 squared. Well, what's 10 squared plus 6 squared? What's 10 squared? 100. What's 6 squared? 36. So 136. I know this is not a perfect square. Okay, so my answer is not going to be even. That's okay. All right, D is approximately what?
11.7.
So how could I know, before I ever even take the square root, how could I know approximately what the square root's going to be? Do I think it's going to be over 12?
No.
No, because the square 12 squared is what? 144, and this is not 144, so I know it's going to be less than 12 and more than 11. I know it's going to be somewhere in that range. That's valuable. That's a very valuable skill to have, to be able to estimate the square root before you take it. All right, and then we know it's about 11.7. Okay, and that really does wrap it up for your final exam. Between today and what we covered on Friday, it's a very good picture of what you're going to see on your final. And congratulations, guys. This is our last official class of Honors Pre-Algebra. Yay. All right, you did a great job.